Welcome back to our Real Estate Morning Show. I'm Dylan. This is my wife Jennifer. We're realtors from Keller Williams with 12 and 13 years in the business now. This is our morning show where we talk about all the Toronto and GTA real estate news. Today we're going to be covering some condos being built in Mississauga. We're going to talk a little bit about rental contracts on major household items like furnaces and hot water tanks. We're going to take a look into some Vaughan detached market house pricing.
Yep.
As well as, is it really worth it or more affordable to live outside of the city versus in the city? Let's jump in.
All right, so today we're going to be starting off with Mississauga. We don't talk about Mississauga too often.
No, not very often.
Which is weird because I know a bunch of people that live there. So you think we
You've worked out there quite a bit.
But anyway, saw a great article the other day and I thought I wanted to kind of reference it. Yeah. So when we're talking about, affordability and what's going on with all this development, Mississauga has 50 condos that are currently either in application or approved already that are going to be built over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's such a crazy number.
Yeah, it 50. Is. And picturing the skyline with 50 new condos in it in the next 10 years. Because 10 years goes by like that, right?
I know.
So it's going to be crazy to see.
It's absolutely crazy. And you think about the construction that's going to go on and like the congestion that's going to have. That's what I think about. Yeah. But a lot of the development is around the central here, Ontario, Burnham Thorpe kind of area, around Square One and that whole area getting built out, and then down along the lakeshore as well. But it's interesting because what's going on is that, and why this is happening more importantly, is that essentially there's a big gap between the detached home and the condo prices. Yeah.
That's been a big thing in our market for the last little while, right?
And in Mississauga it's significant right now. Yeah. So I know in the article they reference kind of more the benchmark numbers, but you have the actual
I did. So
I
when you sent me the article, I was like, well, hey, this is really cool. This is great. Yeah. And I'm like, those numbers don't match what I remember seeing. And so they looked at the benchmark pricing. We're going to look at average pricing because that's always what we talk about on the show. Yeah. And because if we're looking at this saying, hey, wow, there's going to be a whole bunch of new condos coming up in Mississauga, what can I do with this information?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the gaps between the condos and the detached market and see how much window you have for appreciation, what that ceiling might be.
Yeah.
So currently, a detached house in Mississauga on average is $1,041,000. The condo is going for $442,000. So we're looking at pretty much exactly a $600,000 gap between the two.
That's a huge gap.
Huge gap. And now for reference, if we take a look in Toronto, current average detached price is $1,300,000, and the average condo price is $600,000.
Right.
Right. So we're looking at what's that $700,000 is a gap in between, right? And we know what's going on in the Toronto condo market and how we've seen that appreciation.
We're seeing the boom.
The lag is still there, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that with all those condos coming up, there's going to be a lot of room for people to make money on some of those investments.
Yeah.
And I think we'll shout out one of the main developments that they're talking about there is M City. And the M3 tower is one of the focus ones. I'll throw up a picture for you. It looks really cool. Yeah. 900 units, ranging from 480 square feet to 1,000 square feet. And it's an 8-tower development. Yeah. So just this one project is 8 towers.
Well, in total of the 50 condos, it's 24,500 units that are going to be built. So that's 24,000 households that are getting added into the Mississauga area. Now, keep in mind, not every project is going to get approved or get built.
We likely won't see all those towers in 10 years.
Yeah, and likely you're not going to see all 50 because that would be wild. Yeah. But you are going to see a significant amount. And a big reason that they're pushing this way and leaning towards this in Mississauga is the city planners are looking at it and saying, you know what, hey, the next big boom of buyers that are going to be coming into the market are essentially all first-time buyers.
Yeah.
And they're not
affordability-wise.
That's what they're going to be looking comes for. Right back into play here. Yeah. So let's have the options for them. And then the baby boomers are all downsizing. So you're kind of getting it from both sides at this point, and they're being smart about it, and they're saying like, let's build a city in a way that our pricing is attractive, and if we can get enough properties going, we can capitalize on the boom that's already happening in the city. And on top of that, as an investor, you have a huge window of growth. So if you can get into that from an investment point of view, you're close to transit, right? At Square One, you're on subway lines, you're on the GO lines, you got Long Branch down by the lakeshore and all that sort of stuff. So from a renter's point of view, they're great locations as well, and it's really quick to get downtown. So it's really smart, in my opinion, what they're doing. And I think it's very cool. I'm excited to see what that skyline is going to turn into.
I'm excited to see some of the floor plans and the pricing.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching
There's
that.
also that, yeah.
All right, so what's the next one for us? You've got...
Yeah, my next topic is just a quick, kind of more of a like blanket statement on home ownership and rental contracts.
Yes.
We come across this in our business sometimes. It does happen a lot.
Almost on every deal.
Almost on every deal because
right?
of the hot water tank, exactly. And then you also hear about companies going door to door and trying to sell products and stuff. And especially coming into winter, the colder months, you might get some people kind of talking about furnaces.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to touch on it real quickly and just say, when you're looking at a rental unit, whether it's an AC, a furnace, a hot water tank, or any sort of kind of household equipment, right? You got to look at the big picture. So what a lot of people are looking at is, hey, it's only going to cost me $30 a month, for my hot water tank. I'm pretty sure we paid $35 or something, which is crazy.
I did a lease just recently. I think it was like $27, $28, so a little bit under us. But still, even when I saw that, I was like, man, they've really crept up. I remember when it was like $15.
I remember for the longest time they were like 15, but no, they started realizing that this is making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And because what's happening is when you're taking on these rentals, a lot of the time, when as a buyer, when you buy a house and you just assume the rental hot water tank, which is what most of us do, you don't realize that you're paying that rental for the life of the unit. So you might be paying $30 over the course of 14 years. An average hot water tank's average life is about 14 years. Well, you can buy one at Home Depot or wherever else sells them for $1,000.
Yeah.
And that's on the high end. They range from $600 to $1,000.
Yeah, there's a chunk of them at $800 as well.
So and that's a one-time payment. Yes, you have to get them serviced and maintain them and do all of that. Yeah. But I don't think that's costing you an additional, $3,000 or $4,000. Yeah. Because over the life of paying your rental fee, you're roughly paying about $5,000 for that hot water tank. That's a significant difference. Furnaces, the numbers are even bigger because you're paying a higher fee right off the bat. You're paying $75 to $100 roughly monthly, right? And same with an air conditioner. So just make sure you read the fine print would be really where I'm going.
I'd say honestly avoid those ones altogether. Everybody's comfortable with the idea of renting their hot water tank because the majority of people do it. So buyers are okay with assuming that contract because again, when they go to the next house, it'll probably be there anyway. If you decide to go on a rental contract for your furnace because funds are tight or whatever reason you decide to do it, that buyer that comes in isn't going to want to pay for that or assume that rental contract because at the next house they don't have that expense. They don't have that $5,000 over the next 10 years or whatever to pay for this. So that is definitely one I lean away from.
And in the market we're in where we've shifted and we are in a bit more of a buyer's market, especially in the north side of York region and that. When you're competing against 4 or 5 other houses and you have an additional $50, $75, $100 a month fee that the other homes don't have, you're going to lose automatically.
Exactly.
Right?
And when you're talking about furnaces, they do creep up there.
Furnaces are expensive, and so just keep that in mind. If you are in a position where it's what you have to do, it is what it is. You can still sell your house. It's not... I'm not trying to create fear around it, but for those of you that have a hot water tank or you have a rental thing, maybe look into changing that up. You can save yourself some money.
If you're not moving in the next 2 years, go buy a hot water tank today and you'll save money over that 2 years.
You'll make your money back in the 2 years, basically. Yeah.
So I'm going to jump right in with some stats on Vaughan. I was having breakfast yesterday with a friend of the show, and he mentioned that he hadn't heard Vaughan talked about on the show, so I figured might as well. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the detached market today.
Okay.
The average price now in Vaughan for a detached home is $1,313,000, which is still an up there price, pretty nice price.
That's pretty good,
nice for homeowners out there. Yeah. And when you compare October year over year, because that's typically what we talk about in our market reports and whatnot, we see a nice little bit of growth compared to 2017, which is great. Yeah. We want to see that increase now. We're rebounding and looking better. Yeah. And when you look back from 2017 back to 2016, we see a little bit of stagnation. We dropped off a little bit as 2017 came around.
Yeah, as everybody did. Yeah. Yep.
And 2015 to 2016 was where we saw that massive boom, just a ginormous jump in price.
It's a crazy jump.
Yeah, it really is. And I'll tell you those numbers, but you can take a look at the bar graph there. I mean, it's pretty
huge.
clear.
Yeah.
And when we take a look at our year-over-year chart, we do see a little bit of a different story than that growth that I talked about. Obviously, if you take a look at October there, so the blue line here is 2017. The purple line is where we currently are in 2018. Yeah. So we're up year-over-year on our October month there. That's a healthy little segment right there. But we were down in September. We were down in August. We were up over there in July. June and January of 2018 was really the bottom for Vaughan. That's when they hit their lowest.
Interesting.
And I think that was around 1,180,000 thereabouts was kind of where they bottomed out.
Okay, but they have a nice steady incline going on right now the last 3 months. So I mean that's a healthy thing to see, right? Usually when you see consistent months like that, as opposed to
September and October were up. It's a nice thing. So.
I guess August was still a bit below
August,
2017 there.
and it dropped below from their July numbers as well.
Yeah.
So not out of it yet, but that little trend line that we see going, hopefully it just continues for them, and we stay above where we were in 2017.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so that's Vaughan for you. I hope you enjoyed that. And the last thing we'll talk about today is just a quick discussion on what we call drive until you qualify.
Yeah, I love that.
And so CMHC released a report, and there's a couple articles going around today. None with any real substance. Like, they don't reference a lot of the numbers.
No, I actually didn't find one that referenced numbers at
even
all,
on CMHC's site, I didn't actually see any numbers reference on how they're trying to validate what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because basically what they're saying is, a lot of people have been moving to the suburbs, trying to save money or even just be able to qualify for buying a home. Their argument that because of commute times and as you go further away from the city, your commute costs go up. You're not really saving as much money as you think you are, and this could be true because as we look at certain prices, you're really like Vaughan still 1.3 for your average detached house.
Yeah.
You and I always argue though you're getting a lot more house than what you would for 1.3 in the city.
1.3 in the city, you're getting a townhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not getting a detached family home with a backyard and a walkout basement. Like, that's not a thing, right?
Exactly. So whatever that price point is, as you come out of the city, you are typically getting more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
One of the things they do talk about is the cost of your time commute. It's very intangible, but if you move up to, say, now you're an hour more commute each way for your way to work in the morning, that's 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's almost that's a full day extra a week that you're working just on commute.
And it's a rough drive too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it a bunch just from going downtown and coming back up, and it is long and it's steady, right? It's a lot of people commuting, so
exactly.
It's
so
a challenge.
It is essentially the way you can just wrap this up. It's a decision that every family has to make, and it'll be talked about a lot in our home buying process of hey, what's the sweet spot? Where can we really go? Because some of it's you could qualify a little bit, but the home that you want is a little bit further north, right?
Yeah.
So it's finding that sweet spot on how much of a commute am I willing to accept?
Yeah.
What does this mean for my family and getting to see my family and then my home life when I'm living in this house.
Right. And you also have to then consider what type of a commute is it? Is it a car commute? Is it a GO train commute? Is it a subway commute?
Absolutely.
What does that look like? Because that can mean a lot of different things as well. And I think we always bicker on this topic because we just have different opinions about where you live and what you get for where you live and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
You're going to make the decision that makes sense for your family, that makes sense for you, and sometimes your compromise is the commute and sometimes it's the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's our show for the day.
Yeah, that's everything, right?
Yep, that's all of it.
Perfect. So thanks for joining us. As always, we have shows Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you want to read more, check out the articles we reference. They'll be down in the description. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe so you don't miss any more episodes. And if you have any info for us, feedback, stuff you'd like us to talk about or cover, please let us know. We love hearing from you guys. We love all the support we've been getting, so thank you so much for that. And have a great weekend.